Welcome to another exciting video on Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. Today we'll be diving into the fascinating world of melee and caster characters, exploring their unique abilities, playstyles, and roles in combat. Understanding the differences between these two types of characters is crucial for effective gameplay, as it allows you to strategize and build a well-rounded party. So buckle up and get ready to learn everything you need to know about melee vs. caster characters in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. In this video, we'll be discussing the strengths and weaknesses of melee characters in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. Drawing from examples in your top-performing video, Baldur's Gate 3, Crafting Your Perfect Hero, Ultimate Character Creation Guide. We'll explore the various abilities, playstyles, and roles that melee characters can take on in combat. Melee characters are known for their close-range combat prowess, often excelling in physical strength and durability. They typically wield weapons such as swords, axes, and maces, and can deal significant damage to enemies up close. Some examples of melee classes in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons include fighters, barbarians, and paladins. These characters often serve as the front line of a party, protecting their allies and drawing enemy attention. However, melee characters also have their weaknesses. They can struggle against ranged and magical attacks, as they often lack the mobility or ranged options to effectively counter these threats. Additionally, melee characters may have limited utility outside of combat, as they tend to focus on physical attributes rather than mental ones, which can impact their ability to solve puzzles or engage in social encounters. Despite these drawbacks, melee characters remain a vital part of any adventuring party, providing a strong foundation for both offense and defense in the heat of battle. In this section, we'll delve into the world of caster characters in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons, examining their strengths, weaknesses, abilities, playstyles, and roles in combat. Caster characters are known for their magical prowess, harnessing the power of spells to deal damage, heal allies, and control the battlefield. Casters come in various forms, such as wizards, sorcerers, and clerics, each with their unique spellcasting abilities and playstyles. For example, wizards rely on their vast knowledge of spells and can prepare a wide array of magical options each day, while sorcerers have a more limited spell selection, but can cast spells more spontaneously. Clerics, on the other hand, are divine casters who channel the power of their deities to heal and support their allies. The strengths of caster characters lie in their versatility and range. They can deal massive damage with spells like Fireball or Disintegrate, control the battlefield with spells like Web or Hold Person, and even heal and buff their allies with spells like Cure Wounds or Haste. In Baldur's Gate 3, casters can also use powerful area of effect spells to decimate groups of enemies or summon creatures to aid them in battle. However, caster characters also have their weaknesses. They tend to be more fragile than melee characters, with lower hit points and armor class, making them vulnerable to direct attacks. Additionally, casters often have limited spell slots, meaning they must carefully manage their resources during combat. Finally, some spells require concentration, forcing the caster to maintain focus and potentially lose the spell if they take damage. In conclusion, caster characters offer a unique and powerful playstyle in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons, providing a wide range of magical abilities to support their party and dominate the battlefield. While they may have their vulnerabilities, a skilled caster can be a game-changing force in any adventuring party. Now we'll compare and contrast melee and caster characters, highlighting their unique playstyles and how they complement each other in a party. A well-rounded team in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons often consists of a mix of melee and caster characters, as each type brings its own strengths and weaknesses to the table. Melee characters excel in close-range combat, boasting high physical strength and durability. They serve as the front line of a party, absorbing damage and protecting their more vulnerable allies. Their playstyle is often more straightforward, focusing on dealing consistent damage and controlling the battlefield through positioning and engagement. However, melee characters can struggle against ranged and magical attacks, as they may lack the mobility or ranged options to effectively counter these threats. Caster characters, on the other hand, bring a wide array of magical abilities to the party. They can deal massive damage from a distance, control the battlefield with crowd control spells, and support their allies with healing and buffs. Their playstyle is more versatile and strategic, as they must carefully manage their limited spell slots and maintain concentration on key spells. However, casters tend to be more fragile than melee characters, with lower hit points and armor class, making them vulnerable to direct attacks. A well-balanced party will capitalize on the strengths of both melee and caster characters while mitigating their weaknesses. Melee characters can protect casters from direct attacks, allowing them to unleash their full magical potential. In turn, casters can support melee characters with healing and buffs, as well as control the battlefield to create advantageous situations for their frontline allies. In conclusion, understanding the key differences between melee and caster characters is essential for creating a well-rounded team in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. By leveraging the unique playstyles and abilities of both types of characters, players can build a party that is prepared to face any challenge that comes their way. When choosing between a melee or caster character in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons, there are several factors to consider, such as personal playstyle preferences, party composition, and game mechanics. In this section, we'll offer advice on how to decide which type of character is the best fit for you, and encourage viewers to experiment with both types to find their perfect match. First, consider your personal playstyle preferences. If you enjoy being on the front lines, dealing consistent damage, and taking hits for your team, a melee character might be the right choice for you. On the other hand, if you prefer a more strategic and versatile playstyle, with the ability to control the battlefield and support your allies from a distance, a caster character could be a better fit. Next, think about your party composition. A well-rounded team often consists of a mix of melee and caster characters, so consider what roles are already filled in your party and which type of character would best complement the existing lineup. For example, if your party lacks a strong frontline presence, a melee character could help balance the team. Conversely, if your party is in need of magical support or crowd control, a caster character might be the ideal addition. Finally, take into account the game mechanics of Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. Each type of character has its own unique abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. So consider how these factors will impact your gameplay experience. For example, melee characters may struggle against ranged and magical attacks, while caster characters must manage their limited spell slots and maintain concentration on key spells. In conclusion, choosing between a melee or caster character is a personal decision that depends on your playstyle preferences, party composition, and the game mechanics. We encourage viewers to experiment with both types of characters to find the perfect fit for their unique playstyle and enjoy the rich and diverse world of Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. In conclusion, we've explored the unique playstyles, strengths, and weaknesses of both melee and caster characters in Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons. A well-rounded party benefits from a mix of these character types as they complement each other and create a dynamic and versatile team. We encourage you to share your thoughts on melee versus caster characters in the comments below and let us know which type you prefer. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other gaming content on those 666. Happy adventuring!